Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the all-new 2020 Ram 3500 with a 6.4 Hemi. The reason that I wanted to do this truck is this is kind of like the quintessential work truck. Obviously it doesn't have a diesel engine, but then that's going to make it significantly less expensive, which is what you'd want in a work truck. But anyways, a big shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler here in Sandy, Utah for providing us with the truck. Check out their inventory in the link below. We'll do a quick walk around on the truck and then we'll take it out to see how it drives. Let's get into the video. Under the hood here, we have a naturally aspirated 6.4 liter Hemi that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 410 horsepower and then 429 pound-feet of torque. The EPA has not rated this for fuel economy since it is a heavy-duty truck. Now things on the front end are really simple. The hood is just like any other heavy-duty Ram right now. Still got the little badging there on the side that says 3500 heavy duty. We'll go up close to that in a minute. Got halogen lights up front, kind of like a honeycomb design on the grille. No fog lights on the truck, which is kind of interesting, or tow hooks as well, so another interesting touch right there. And then other than that, again, everything on the front end is super simple. On the side here, we've got 275mm tires on 18-inch rims in the front and in the back as well. Nothing too crazy going on here. It's kind of like a chrome clad with the design on the rims, and then you can see the front suspension just underneath there. The 3500s in the rear are going to come with leaf springs, whereas the 2500 will have coilovers, so this will have a higher payload. 2500 is going to have a smoother ride. And then here's that 3500 heavy duty badging up close with the 6.4 Hemi badging and then the Ram logo. We'll get into this mirror a little bit later, but here is just a full side view on the Tradesmen. Here is our key fob on the Tradesmen. It says Ram on the back. You got unlock, lock. Other than that, I mean, the key fob is super simplistic. There's the alarm button there at the corner. But if we actually walk up to the truck and lower down the bed here, you can see that it is not slow lowering. It just kind of goes all the way down on its own accord. Nothing here on the side, no LED bed lights or anything like that. No bed liner either on this particular truck. Do have a cargo light up top. This is just a traditional bed, so it's actually really light. I mean, I barely even have to try, and the bed just kind of goes right up, which is very nice. Now, if you are wondering the dimensions on this bed, it is 6'4" for the length of the bed. You can get an 8-foot bed on these heavy duties if you'd want. These have the lower down package tail lights, so they are incandescent in the rear, nothing fancy there. Ram logo, 4x4 badging. You've got the plugins for towing, and then you got the receiver hitch down below. If you get these trucks with 410 gears, the max towing is right around roughly 16,000 pounds for towing capacity. Just depends on the interior packaging, and then obviously the axle ratio in the back, and then if it's 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive. Now here is the back of the truck, and you can see that they keep things super basic back here. This, again, is supposed to be a work truck, so things are going to be really durable. Now if we look at the seats, I'm actually really impressed with these seats. So even though it's a work truck, these seats are really nice. The seats in like a Ford work truck or a Chevy work truck are not nearly as soft, so definitely a big benefit of the Ram. You're going to get softer seats. No cup holders in the center. You do get vents in the back, just extra little storage there, I guess, but that's where like the charging stations are on the other trucks. And then under the seats themselves, just pull all the way up. No 60-40 split. You don't get any ice buckets, actually. I'm surprised most of the Rams have ice buckets, but not in this Tradesman. And here's just one more look at the rear. Now, I was about to pull the door open, but we've got to go over the mirrors. So this has the trailer mirrors. You just have to pick that up right there, and obviously that's going to help out with visibility. Before I go over the door panel, I am going to give you guys a view of the stickers on the truck. So that is your first sticker right there that gives you kind of like the information on the tires. And then here is the second sticker. This is probably the one that you guys are also going to be wanting to look at. And I believe there's one more, and it's right over here. So this is the last sticker, and this is probably the one that you guys definitely want to see the most, because it gives you a little bit more information on the vehicle. But yeah, there's all your stickers. So actually going over the door panel, again, you can see that all this is kind of like plastic, just durable, cheap materials. Window controls are right here. You got your mirror controls, all that kind of stuff. Nothing crazy. Got some extra storage there. Here's the seat in the front. Again, that same really soft cloth they have pulled into the front, so really comfortable to sit in. I like these bolsters right here. You can see that it is manually adjustable on the seat. Here's your pedal layout. Got like the parking brake just right there. It is a little push pedal. Light controls are right here. That's for the cargo light. Obviously there are no fog lights. And then the steering wheel is going to be manually adjustable, which is expected with a work truck like this. To start it up, just put your foot on the brake, push the push start. It'll say 3,500 heavy duty, and everything will come to life. Here's a full view of the steering wheel. You got the Ram logo in the center. Got all of our cruise controls on this side. That is to manually shift the gears yourself with that 8-speed automatic that goes to the 6.4 Hemi. Kind of got this nice little design here. Not sure what that's all about, but kind of makes it look like this has leather wrapped around it, but it's not. So I think that's what they're going for. They kind of made the plasticky material look like, you know, perforated leather on the steering wheel. It's just interesting choice. You've got the controls for like your Bluetooth phone controls and that for the center stack, and then there are no radio controls on the back of the steering wheel. Here are the center gauges, RPMs on the left side. On the right side, you've got the speed, and then you got that little center screen that you can scroll through a couple different menus on the truck, just to give you different bits of information on it. I usually just leave it to be a speedo, keeps things pretty simple. And then the last thing I forgot to mention, that is the stock for the windshield wipers, and then also to flash the high beams, and then for your turn signal. Now, there's a little 12 volt up here and kind of some extra little storage at the top. Here is the infotainment system. It's Ram's smaller infotainment system, so you've got a couple of buttons on the outside that you can see have some functions. This is where the backup camera is going to be housed, so if we pop it in reverse, that backup camera is going to pop up, and you've got the little zoom function on it. It does have trajectory lines that'll turn with the steering wheel. And other than that, if I do a touch response, let's just press a couple of the buttons to see, you know, how quickly things respond. It seems like the response time on it's kind of little bit, I mean, that seemed like it worked fine, but yeah, the response time on some of the stuff seems like it's a little bit on the slow side, I would say. I mean, yeah, you guys can see what I'm talking about. Now, analog controls just down below with the volume and the tuner. The hazard light button's actually right there. It is a single zone climate. Then you got your tow haul mode here, which if you press that on, it'll let you know on the little screen there that the tow haul mode is on. Stability control, trailer brakes already integrated with the truck, and then this has the dial shifter. So that is how you shift into the different gears on the truck. Here's our full center console. It actually has leather padding on it with some stitching, so that's pretty nice. Extra storage area, got a couple like little coin holder thing right here, little charging station. Bunch of cup holders there at the front, and then you can pick this up to be a third seat, and there is no storage underneath that I can feel, so it just functions as kind of like a center console and a third seat. Now here is the shifter for the four-wheel drive system. You can get on the fly, but this one has it in the floor. And then there's a couple more charging stations down there, and you can see there's kind of like that little storage cubby area with a full power outlet. And then here's kind of the glove box area, so no lid on this part. Does have extra storage, and then on the bottom you can close that part of the glove box. Up top we have a lighter colored headliner in the truck, power rear setting window, which I'm actually impressed with because, you know, in the past the Tradesmen package didn't have, you know, it either was fixed glass or it was manual, so it's cool that they do have a power rear setting window on the truck. You do get the little light controls, so it's not the lights, almost fooled me there, it's actually the buttons next to the lights. And then little sunglass holder, and then the mirror does have the dimming function on it, so you can just pull that little tab to do the mirror dimmer on it, essentially. Now, I am sure all of you are wondering how much a basic work truck like this costs. So this is, again, a Ram 3500 with the 6.4 Hemi. It has a couple options. Obviously, it's not fully loaded for a Tradesman package, though. That being said, though, the truck stickers for about $45,000 for any type of market adjustment, which, I mean, for a, you know, 3500 series truck with a gas engine, that's pretty much in line with all of the other manufacturers. And again, like I said, the biggest plus to this is the interior on this definitely feels nicer compared to like a Ford or a Chevy work truck, especially the seats. Before we set off in this 3500 Tradesmen with a 6.4 Hemi, let's look over the hood. Visibility there is really good. These trailer mirrors show everything. I recommend when you're just driving around, have them in this down function. Obviously when you're towing, flip them up, but I really feel like the visibility on them is great this way if you're just driving the truck with no trailer. And then see through the other side. And then all throughout the rear, Visibility in the truck in general, just like any other Ram's, really solid. So let's set off. Now, initially setting off here, let's talk about the road noise and ride quality. So in terms of the ride quality, definitely a little bit on the bumpy side. It does feel rougher than a 2500. Not nearly as rough as the 3500s used to feel though for like the last generation, so the 4th generation Rams. This is definitely smoother compared to the old 3500, but still on the rough side compared to most new trucks. And then in terms of the noise that comes through the cabin, you hear quite a bit from the 6.4 Hemi, and it sounds really good actually. Other than that, tire noise is pretty minimal. Wind noise is also pretty minimal as well. And I wish this Honda would drive faster. Like, we're only going like 15 miles under the speed limit, no biggie. So before we get our acceleration here, I just want to talk about the steering. The steering is very light, but there is definitely some vagueness with the steering, some on-center vagueness essentially. So just take that into account with this truck. I mean, you can turn it really easily, so maneuvering it's really easy. The steering just has some on-center vagueness, and it's getting acceleration here. Well, that was a poor acceleration, but I mean, you can feel it has a good amount of power. No, it doesn't have that feel that the diesel has. So if you want tons of torque and power, yes, go for the diesel. But the 6.4 Hemi costs significantly less, and the horsepower is around the same. So on the top end, it'll pull the same. It's just that getting off the line, it won't feel nearly as powerful as a diesel. Now, let's sum things up with this 6.4 Hemi. This is a great work truck. Obviously, the maintenance in the long term is going to be less than a diesel. You know, gas engines, they're just less money to maintain. Fuel costs are pretty similar nowadays. A diesel truck would get a little bit better fuel economy than this. However, I feel like the maintenance costs kind of offset that, and the other fact that this engine is only, actually this is no cost option. It's the standard engine for the truck, whereas a diesel is $9,000 for the standard Cummins. If you get a high output, you're $11,000. So if you're, you know, trying to save money on cost and you don't want to just pay the premium for the diesel and you don't need the towing, the 6.4 Hemi is definitely the truck to go for. Has a higher payload capacity too, so just a win overall. There we have it, everyone. The all-new 2020 Ram 3500 Tradesman with a 6.4 Hemi. Just kind of wanted to show you guys, you know, like the quintessential work truck I would consider it. Well, actually, that dually over there is probably the quintessential work truck because it actually has a trailer attached to it. But anyways, a big shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Dodge Ram in Sandy here again for providing us with a truck. Check out their inventory in the link below. If you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe. I'll see all of you in that next video.